Hello, machinist members and allies in the labor movement. This is the 141 Report, and I'm your host, Dave Lehigh, a communications representative for District Lodge 141. We're reporting today from Portland, Oregon, speaking with President Doug Kohler, who leads the membership of Air Transport Local 1885. Before we start today's report, we continue to remind our viewers to please like our 141 Facebook social media page, follow our Twitter page, and subscribe to our YouTube page. Remember to visit our IAM141.org website and sign up for our weekly emails and bulletins. You can now listen to our interviews on our podcast channel on the Anchor Network. Our membership always has information and communication at their fingertips. Please participate in joining these online web and social media sites. We also want to remind our members about the Adolph Stutz District 141 Scholarship Contest. This is a great program where several cash prizes are awarded to the winners of the essay contest. For details, please visit the website. So let's get today's interview going as our 141 report starts now. Hello, Brother Doug. It's great to have you on today's 141 report.
Hi, Dave. Glad to be here.
Hey, glad to have you on our show. Hey, Doug, can you give our viewers some background about yourself, your history with the airlines that you've worked for, and the positions you've held with the Machinist Union?
Yeah, I started in 1997, and I've been with United Airlines customer service for the last 24 years. I started in Eugene, Oregon. I transferred to Portland in 2000. And I have been a lead since 2005 for customer service. And I started out as a shop steward about 2003, 2004. I was a shop steward until 2013. Then I became the local grievance committee for customer service. So I was I handled all the grievances. And then I did that for 5 years. And after that, I became the vice president. And then just recently, I took over the role as the president of Local 1885 here in Portland.
That's a great bio. So let me ask you, you've been a member for some time. Tell me and the viewers why it's important being a union member.
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit, back to when I first started at United Airlines. I was C-scale. I'm sure most people remember the C-scale. And at C-scale, I started at a wage, and I was progressing to not much more of a wage, and that was going to be my career at United Airlines. In 1999, we had the opportunity to organize the IAM in customer service, and there was a big push for that. And I think that all of the C-scale, which are people that were hired or agents that were hired from 1994 on, pushed that over, and we became unionized in 1999. I think that the union protected our jobs. It created more our wages became more comparable. We were brought up, we started at A, B, and C. We eliminated all the scales and became one scale. We were all making the same. I was making the same as my brother next to me on the ticket counter. I think that's very important. Fair representation.
Your union in customer service was about the same time I gained union rights at US Airways. It was about the same time, 1999, roughly that time frame. So let's talk now about Portland and Local Lodge 1885. How big is your local? I know it's not too big of a lodge, but it's an important lodge in the Northwest Territory.
Yeah, so 1885 locally, there's about 500 or so members, and that consists of United Customer Service, United Ramp, United Stores, American Ramp, Southwest Customer Service, Alaska Customer Service, and Hawaiian.
Yeah, some customer service workers at Hawaiian, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So where is your local located? You guys have a place that you rent out, or do you guys use the airport?
We rent space from the IBEW, the electricians union, and they're just right down the street from the airport.
Oh, that's really convenient.
Yeah, very convenient.
Yeah, IBW is great organization. I know, some other locals around the country do utilize IBW halls, so that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's move on, talking more about your EBoard. Every local lodge has an EBoard. I know you have some people, some talented people that you work with. Why don't you give me some background on those folks you work with?
Oh, okay. So Dwayne Purvis is the treasurer secretary. He's been treasurer secretary for a lot of years. I'm gonna guess at about 16 years he's been doing that. He's very knowledgeable. He knows a lot about the union, the local. A great wealth of information.
What airline? What airline is he from?
United. He's United Ramp. I'm sorry, United Ramp.
Great.
Yeah. We have Tamara Sass. She's fairly new. I mean, she's been with the union. She was a shop steward for years. She's our recording secretary, and she's also our customer service grievance committee. And she is fairly new to these roles, and she's doing an amazing job. She's organized a lot of food drives, fundraisers.
I was going to bring that up. Because, I just interviewed her about 3 weeks ago. Yeah. I had her on with some other community service people.
Yes.
And she's doing a fantastic job up there. You're very lucky to have her on.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Great stuff. So who else you have?
We've got a couple of EBoard members, some trustees. Mark Wheaton, who's been very involved. He was the ramp committee person or grievance person when I was customer service. He's a trustee and he's on the EBoard as well. Brian Shetter, he's a great guy. He's been our EAP. I want to say for the whole time that I've been in Portland, he's been our EAP. Very knowledgeable. I've worked with him a lot on a lot of cases in the past. Great resource, great guy to have around. He just knows a lot about, the EAP stuff. So yeah. So yeah, they're all great people, easy to work with. Yeah.
So let's move on and talk more about. Listen, every local counts on district and international help. And 1885, I'm sure, is no exception. So when you have an issue or problem, who do you contact in your district from 141? Who do you work with?
I work with Olu, announcing his last name.
Jetamobi.
That's it. Yes, I work with him a lot. He was my AGC when I was the committee. He's become, he's a great guy to work with. Very
knowledgeable.
Yes, a good friend. And if I ever have any questions, I just reach out to him and he gets back to me like right then. I mean, that day.
Okay. Do you have any other AGCs to pop in there?
Yeah, Troy Rivera. He's very helpful. I've talked with him quite a bit in the past. I worked with him on a couple of cases when I was a shop steward. Not really cases, grievances. I was just a shop steward. So he was our AGC at the time. He's still pretty involved. And in fact, I think Olu and Troy share an office in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then we have a new gal, and her name is Brianna Gregory.
Yeah, and she's international Grand Lodge rep.
Yeah. And I've spoke with her a couple of times in the past month or so.
Yeah, I think you forgot to mention off American. You have, I think, probably Mike Maiorino. Is it
from the other airlines?
Yeah, I think it's Mike Maiorino that pops in for the American crew.
I have met Shannon Rebello.
Yeah, he's a special rep. He helps handle the Hawaiian members.
Yeah, he's come in a couple of times with Olu.
Right.
And Jason McAdoo from Alaska.
Yeah, he's District 142.
Yeah, I've talked with him a little bit. Yeah,
Does the
yeah.
Alaska work. So moving on, Doug, can you tell us about some of the committee people that you work with at your local?
Yeah, we have a couple of small committees here in Portland, our local 1885. We have the EAP committee, which consists of 2 members, CS, Marianne Kress, and Brian Shetter, which is the ramp. We have the community service committee, which I'm a part of. Tamara Sass is very involved in that. The EBoard, most everybody is involved with that. And we've explored a women's committee, which we're still in the process of working on that. So we don't have a lot of information on that yet.
Well, Grand Lodge has some great help up there. So you reach out to the Grand Lodge, talk to Brianna about that. I'm sure you could get a women's committee established with the help of the Grand Lodge. Yeah. So moving on to the next question. What's the most important thing that you think our members value being in the union, and how has the machinist union changed your life?
So I feel that a union is there to protect workers' rights. I feel that it's very important that each person is treated individually, fair and equitable, and I believe that the union provides that. And I'm a strong union believer. I came from auto worker background. My grandfathers were involved in the auto workers back in the 50s and 60s. My grandfather, my great uncle. I just feel that it's very important to have representation when we're going into negotiations for wages, job protection, benefits for that matter. I think that the union is there to back us up.
Yeah, so that sort of brings me on to this next question that I have. Have you heard the news about what's going on over at JetBlue and on the ramp?
I have a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
And
so District 141 today put out a news report about non-union JetBlue, and they're eliminating the lead classification on the ramp at their airline. And I'm sure our members at our carriers in Portland that we represent are glad they have a union contract protecting their classification. How important is classification and job security to Portland IAM members?
Well, I think it's very important, especially since what we went through this past fall with the COVID pandemic. A lot of uncertainty about jobs and furloughs. And without the union there, I think that, we may have lost a lot more people in regards to furloughs. So I believe that the union was there and they protected our jobs. And without that, I think, like I said, I think we would have lost a lot of members in that. There were some things that were transpiring during the pandemic, and I know that the union was very involved, and a lot of the stuff was, I think, we were treated fairly in respects to what was happening around us.
We all worked very hard on legislative action. A lot of our members around the country, they contacted their senators and their congressmen for that payroll support. And that kept a lot of us on the job. That's because we had a union. We all worked collectively. So
yeah, we talked to our local senators here. We did a conference call with our local, all of our officers. We talked to our local senators back in October about that.
Great.
That same thing.
So, Brother Doug, any closing thoughts or anything you want to make mention of before we finish up this report?
Well, I'm a proud member of the IAM 141, and like I've said, I think that it's very important, and it's very important that people are treated with dignity and respect, and I feel like the union promotes that, and I feel like that we just need to keep fighting and keep going.
Right.
And
some good advice there.
Yeah.
So this wraps up this week's 141 report. I want to thank you, Doug, for all the work that you're doing up there in Portland and for coming on today's show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Hope to be up there in person sometime again, maybe later on this year with Mac McGovern and the education crew.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Great. That'd be great to see you.
All right. And to all our viewers of the 141 Report, thank you for making this show so popular online. The comments and shares of our video and podcast are reaching many union people around the country. If you think you might be a good guest on the 141 Report to talk to about the work you're doing at your local, helping the membership or community, be sure to contact me at dlehigh@iam141.org. That's all. Everyone remember, stay safe and have a good weekend.
Thanks,
Bye for
Dave.
now.